Imagine living on an isolated island where giant, fire-breathing monsters pull up every single night just to burn your whole life down. The Vikings here are built different and ready to scrap, but one weak underdog is secretly about to change the entire world. Welcome to Berk, where surviving the daily dragon raids is low-key a full-time job. Our main character Hiccup introduces us to his home Berk, a place that stays standing despite constant chaos. Because dragons literally torch the village on a daily basis, every single building is practically brand new. The Vikings living here do not run from trouble at all, they actually look for fights. Hiccup runs out into the middle of an active dragon attack, but the locals immediately scream that he is just in the way. Then we meet Stoik the Vast, the chief of Berk, who allegedly popped a dragon's head clean off when he was just a baby. Stoik gets an immediate status update from his crew on which deadly dragons are currently raiding the village. Stoik checks if the absolute most dangerous phantom dragon has spawned in yet. Hiccup runs into Gobber, a blacksmith with major attitude, a peg leg, and interchangeable peg hands. Hiccup is low-key trapped working as Gobber's apprentice in the forge while everyone else gets real action. Outside, total mayhem erupts as Vikings try to protect their sheep and extinguish burning houses. Stoik reminds everyone to stay locked in and keep an ear out for the mysterious Night Fury. Hiccup spots the Teenage Fire Brigade, calling them Berk's ultimate cool kids who get all the clout. Leading the group is Astrid, a total badass with main character energy who Hiccup low-key crushes on. Hiccup tells Gobber he just wants to get out there, take down a beast, and finally make his mark. Gobber reminds him that he can't even swing an axe or throw a proper Viking weapon. So Hiccup shows off his cooked-up custom contraption, a double-barreled bola launcher he built himself. Gobber tells him he needs to stop being so much like himself, gesturing to his whole scrawny body. Hiccup warns Gobber that keeping all his raw main character potential bottled up is a dangerous game. In Viking culture, taking down a dragon is literally the only way to get any respect. He breaks down the target hierarchy, explaining how taking down a two-headed zippleback would boost his social standing instantly. Meanwhile, the wild chaos outside reaches a whole new level as the dragons raid the livestock. The monstrous nightmare arrives, literally setting itself on fire, which only the elite warriors dare to fight. But the ultimate jackpot for any Viking is a shadow creature that nobody has ever actually laid eyes on. This is the Night Fury, a demon beast that never steals food, never misses its target, and stays totally hidden. Gobber heads out to join the battle, strictly ordering Hiccup to stay inside the shop. Gobber reminds him that no one has ever killed a Night Fury, but Hiccup is determined to be the first. As Hiccup sneaks outside with his gear, villagers yell that he is going to get wrecked. Hiccup sets up his launcher at the edge of a cliff, aiming straight into the pitch-black sky. He fires blind into the night sky, hits something, and shouts out in shock that he actually sniped a Night Fury. Before he can even flex, a wild monstrous nightmare crawls up the cliff right behind him. Hiccup runs for his life until Stoik steps in to throw hands with the dragon directly. Stoik saves Hiccup, but the fight accidentally causes a huge wooden post to collapse, letting all the captured dragons escape. Hiccup desperately tries to explain that he shot down the unseen Night Fury, but nobody buys it. He insists he saw its shadow blotting out the stars, but Stoik is totally done listening. Stoik fumes that every single time Hiccup steps outside, complete catastrophe follows right behind him. With winter right around the corner, Stoik stresses that he has an entire village to feed and zero time for games. When Hiccup cracks a joke, Stoik snaps and tells him straight up that this isn't funny. Hiccup admits that he can't stop himself because killing dragons is supposed to be who he is. Stoik drops a harsh truth bomb, telling Hiccup he is many things, but a dragon killer is definitely not one of them. Stoik orders him to walk straight home, leaving Hiccup feeling completely humiliated in front of the whole town. As Hiccup walks through the village, he sarcastically notes that being the chief's son comes with major perks. The other teens glare at him in disgust while Astrid completely ignores his existence. Hiccup vents to Gobber about how his dad never actually listens to a single thing he says. He complains that Stoic constantly looks at him with a disappointed scowl like he is a total mistake. Gobber brutally tells him that it's not Hiccup's look Stoic hates, it's what's inside him that he can't stand. Gobber advises Hiccup to stop trying so hard to be something he clearly isn't. Meanwhile, Stoic rallies the village elders, reminding them of their legendary Viking bloodline. He reminds them they built Berk right here because they are super close to the mysterious dragon nest. Stoic believes if they can just find the nest, they can wipe out the dragon threat once and for all. The tired warriors complain that the nest sounds like a fairy tale and they are cooked from searching. Stoic hypes them back up, reminding everyone that they are the roughest, toughest tribe on the planet. He calls out veteran warriors like Phlegma, who lost a limb fighting but still took down a beast single-handedly. Stoic reminds them all that despite all the losses, they are still standing and fighting together. Stoic asks Elder Gothy for a sign to see if they stand a chance finding the nest before winter sets in. Gothy gives the signal, and Stoic declares they are sailing back into the dangerous fog immediately. Before leaving, Stoic tells Gobber that he won't have time to train the new recruits this year. Gobber points out that Hiccup is finally of age for the classic Viking dragon training rite of passage. Stoic worries about leaving Hiccup alone in the forge with weapons, asking what could possibly go wrong. Gobber sticks up for Hiccup, telling Stoic the kid genuinely just wants to make his dad proud. Stoic reflects on how stubborn Hiccup is, noting he got that trait from his late mother Valka. Stoic remembers his own youth, explaining how he always followed orders and knew exactly what he had to become. Stoic stresses that Hiccup isn't built for this world and fears he won't survive. Gobber reminds Stoic that he can't protect Hiccup forever, he can only prepare him for the real world. Meanwhile, Hiccup is out deep in the woods trying to find the Night Fury he claims he shot down. To his absolute shock, he finds the terrifying creature bound tightly in his bola ropes. Back home later that evening, both Hiccup and Stoic realize they need to have a serious chat. Hiccup tries to confess that he doesn't actually want to fight dragons after seeing the beast up close. But Stoic cuts him off and announces that it is finally time for Hiccup to learn how to fight dragons. Stoic tells him official dragon training starts first thing in the morning, leaving Hiccup stunned. Hiccup desperately tries to back out, insisting that he literally lacks the heart to kill a dragon. Stoic hands him a heavy family axe, declaring that the arena is where true heroes are forged. The next morning, Hiccup arrives at the brutal dragon training arena alongside Berk's most hyped recruits. Hiccup tries to joke about avoiding permanent injuries, but the other teens are totally obsessed with getting battle scars. Snotlout tries to flex his manly name, even though everyone knows he flunked dragon training 4 whole times. Gobber gathers the teens in the terrifying arena to officially start their grueling dragon-slaying tradition. The stakes are sky high because whoever tops the class earns the ultimate flex of killing their first dragon in front of the whole village. Fishlegs low-key questions if Hiccup's claims about defeating a Night Fury disqualify him, but Gobber completely ignores the cap. Gobber savagely roasts Hiccup, telling him his scrawny build just makes him look like slim pickings to a hungry dragon. Gobber starts dropping the lore on the deadly beasts locked behind the arena doors. He warns them about the deadly Natter and the sneaky two-headed hideous Zippleback. Fishleg starts nerd-raging stats for the monstrous nightmare and terrible terror until Gobber tells him to shut his mouth. He reminds the group that every dragon species has a strict ammo limit on their fireballs. Fishlegs correctly guesses 6 shots for a Gronkle, but gets distracted dropping rock facts and gets blasted out of the ring. Snotlout tries flirting with Astrid during the chaotic drill, but she coldly reminds him this is a zero-sum elimination game. Snotlout gets caught slipping and eliminated, leaving just Astrid and Hiccup dodging for their lives. Astrid pulls off epic main character energy dodges, leaving the Gronkle with only 2 shots left. Hiccup completely panics, stumbles around, and nearly gets fried before Gobber intervenes. Gobber effortlessly wrangles the overgrown sausage of a dragon back into its pen. Gobber drops an ominous warning that a wild dragon will always go straight for the brutal kill. That heavy statement hits Hiccup right in the gut, making him deeply question why Toothless spared his life in the woods. Later on, the teens break down their embarrassing training blunders. Astrid gets hypercritical of her own somersault dive, demanding absolute perfection from herself. Snotlout tries white knighting for Astrid, but she clearly wants zero part of his cringe energy. Gobber cuts through the teen drama to remind them that the dragon war is getting worse by the day. To give them an edge, he unveils the sacred book of dragons, packed with generations of Viking survival knowledge. Snotlout brags that he'd rather flex his muscles and kill stuff than waste time reading dumb words. Fishlegs offers up his custom dragon stat cards, but nobody wants to hear his hyper-nerdy ramblings. Hiccup low-key tries to suggest that dragons might not be totally evil, but Astrid isn't having any of it. Astrid gets super intense, insisting that destroying every single dragon is their sole life purpose. Hiccup tries arguing that Vikings might be invading dragon territory, but Astrid thinks he lives in a total fantasy world. She opens up about coming from nothing and grinding every single day to earn her place. Astrid boldly declares she has her eyes set on becoming chief, and Hiccup awkwardly agrees she'd be better than him. She warns Hiccup to stay out of her way before storming off into the night. Alone in the Great Hall, Hiccup opens the ancient book and begins skimming through terrifying dragon classifications. He reads horrific entries about the thunder drum, which can literally shatter a man with sound waves. The book lists nightmarish beasts that burn, bury, choke, and turn their human victims inside out. Every single page repeats the exact same ruthless command to kill the dragons on sight. Finally, he reaches the Night Fury page, only to find zero practical information besides calling it the unholy offspring of death itself. Meanwhile out at sea, Stoic leads a terrifying naval expedition straight into the foggy nightmare of Helheim's Gate. Massive panic erupts on the longships as wild dragons attack out of the thick mist. The Vikings scramble for their oars while deadly shadows swoop down from above to wreck their fleet. Back at training the next morning, Hiccup tries casually asking Gobber if there's any hidden info on Night Furies. Gobber tells him to lock in because today's brutal drill is all about offensive tactics against deadly natters. Gobber tells the teens they have to be lighter on their feet if they want to survive a natter charge. He reveals that every dragon has a critical blind spot they must exploit to strike a lethal blow. Roughnut roasts Toughnut's foul body odor when he tries hiding in the exact same blind spot. Hiccup keeps trying to get Night Fury intel out of Gobber mid-fight, driving the coach insane. Snotlout gets completely distracted flirty-talking Astrid, letting the natter pin him to the floor. Astrid saves the day with a clean strike, proving once again she's the ultimate tryhard in the arena. She scolds the group for not taking training seriously when their parents' brutal war is heading straight for them. Later, Hiccup sneaks back out to the hidden cove to visit his captured dragon and notices his teeth retract into his gums. Hiccup brings a basket of fresh fish to break the ice with the newly named Toothless. Cut back to the hall, where Gobber shows off his missing limbs and tells Wild War stories about dragon encounters. Gobber drops a major key plot point, explaining that if a dragon can't fly, it's essentially already dead. Hearing that a downed dragon cannot survive hits Hiccup like a freight train as he thinks about Toothless' broken tail fin. The twins start arguing over who gets to lose a limb first in battle because they're totally unhinged. Gobber warns them that once Chief Stoic returns, the top student will be chosen to execute a dragon before the whole village. Hiccup heads back to the cove loaded with different types of raw fish to feed Toothless. He offers up salmon and a smoked eel, but Toothless instantly freaks out and snarls at the eel. Hiccup takes mental note that dragons absolutely despise eels, tossing it away to calm the beast down. Toothless happily scarfs down the fresh fish, slowly letting his guard down around the human boy. Hiccup reveals his secret project, a custom-made leather harness and artificial prosthetic wing for Toothless' damaged tail. He carefully fastens the rig onto Toothless' tail, but the dragon panics the second he feels the mysterious attachment. Hiccup manually adjusts the tail fin mechanism mid-air, allowing Toothless to regain full flight for the very first time. Back in the arena, Gobber sets up a 2v2 drill featuring the dangerous two-headed hideous Zippleback. Gobber explains that one head spews flammable gas while the other head strikes the spark to blow everything up. Roughnut tries bonding with Astrid, but Astrid is purely focused on winning the top Slayer rank. Snotlout tries giving Hiccup terrible flirting advice right as the Zippleback corners them in the mist. Chaos erupts as the dragon's gas head fills the arena, separating the panicked teams. Fishlegs panics over the dragon's venom stats and retreats, leaving Hiccup trapped alone with the beast. Gobber screams at Hiccup to run for his life as the Zippleback locks onto him with fire in its eyes. Instead of running, Hiccup uses his new secret dragon knowledge to effortlessly subdue the beast and guide it back to its cage, leaving everyone completely speechless. Hiccup is back in the training ring, and he is straight up breaking the game by pacifying dragons without throwing a single punch. When the other kids press him on how he got these secret main character hacks, Hiccup hits them with a fake excuse and dashes out. Meanwhile, the whole village is buzzing because this former Total Zero is low-key becoming the biggest star on the entire island. The villagers cannot believe that little Hiccup now has absolute main character energy with these terrifying beasts. Gobber is out here hyping him up while the kid sneaks off to do his real work in secret. Back in the forest, Hiccup gears up Toothless with his new custom tail rig for their most dangerous test flight yet. He starts shifting positions on the foot pedal, trying to lock in perfect aerodynamic control in real time. They launch into the sky like a rocket, pulling off insane acrobatics through sea stacks that leave them both hyping each other up. Hiccup clicks into 5th position, and for a second, it feels like nothing can ever stop this dynamic duo. But right when he is enjoying the ultimate high of soaring, his little paper cheat sheet slips straight out of his hand. Panic instantly cooks his brain as Toothless starts plummeting straight toward the giant rock cliffs below. After barely surviving that airborne nightmare, Hiccup sneaks back home only to get ambushed by his massive dad, Stoic. Hiccup instantly freezes up, thinking his dad caught him red-handed hanging out with the ultimate enemy. Stoic ominously drops that no secret stays hidden on Burke for long, leaving Hiccup sweating bullets. But plot twist, Stoic thinks Hiccup has been secretly mastering dragon slaying this whole time. Stoic is actually ecstatic, gushing about how proud he is that his son is finally shedding monster blood. He apologizes for doubting him all those years, completely misinterpreting Hiccup's pacifist tricks as pure combat genius. Stoic even thinks Hiccup has a legit shot at winning the top spot in the dragon ring. To cement this emotional moment, Stoic pulls out a bizarre ancient helmet forged directly from Hiccup's mother's armor. Hiccup is stuck wearing a ridiculous breastplate hat while feeling completely crushed by the massive lie he is trapped in. He tries to play along and pretend he is ready for the brutal final evaluation tomorrow. Next morning in the ring, Astrid comes in ultra salty, determined to crush Hiccup and claim the top title. But Hiccup accidentally flexes his dragon charm tricks again, snatching victory right out from under her nose. Astrid drops her axe in pure rage because she worked her entire life for this exact title. The village elder steps forward to declare who earned the honor of performing the ceremonial dragon kill. She points directly at Hiccup, crowning him the champion in front of the entire cheering village. Instead of feeling hyped, Hiccup knows this is a total death sentence for his values because he refuses to kill. He immediately rushes into the woods to pack his gear and permanently escape the island with Toothless. But right as he gets to his hideout, Astrid pops out of the shadows with her axe ready for blood. Hiccup stammers through a terrible cover story, trying to pretend he is just out here crafting leather gear. Astrid is not buying it for a second and instantly punches him square in the chest. Then she hits him with an aggressive knee strike that leaves him groaning on the floor. Hearing Hiccup yell in pain, Toothless bursts out of the brush in full protect mode, roaring right in Astrid's face. Hiccup leaps between them just in time before Toothless flattens her into Viking trail mix. Astrid freaks out at the sight of a live night fury and bolts up a tree in sheer panic. Hiccup knows if she runs back to tell the chief, Toothless is cooked, so he offers her a ride to explain everything. Astrid reluctantly climbs onto Toothless' saddle, still wildly suspicious of the whole setup. Toothless decides to petty troll Astrid for hitting Hiccup, immediately launching into a terrifying death dive. Hiccup scrambles to regain control while Astrid is screaming for her life in midair. Astrid finally begs for mercy, promising to hear Hiccup out if Toothless stops the chaotic spinning. Once Toothless smooths out the flight, the terrifying ride turns into an absolutely breathtaking cruise through the Aurora Borealis. Astrid is low-key stunned by how beautiful it is, but reminds him that the arena fight is still happening tomorrow. She questions how riding a dragon fixes generations of brutal blood feuds between Vikings and beasts. Astrid brings up her painful past, pointing out that dragons have taken food and lives from her people forever. Hiccup points out that continuing the endless cycle of revenge is just going to destroy everyone involved. They banter back and forth, slowly building a deep mutual understanding in the sky. Suddenly, Toothless locks eyes on a massive flock of dragons all carrying huge catches of food toward a foggy island. Toothless slips right into the mist along with them, unintentionally leading the team straight to the legendary dragon's nest. They land inside a giant volcanic crater and realize the dragons aren't keeping the food for themselves. They dump all their hard-earned livestock into a terrifying fiery pit at the center of the cave. Suddenly, a colossal, monstrous dragon head emerges from the lava and devours a zippleback that didn't bring enough food. It is an absolute nightmare alpha dragon, forcing all the other dragons to raid human villages just to survive. Astrid is hyped to report this straight to Stoik so the Viking fleet can launch an all-out war. Hiccup begs her to hold off because if the Vikings attack, Toothless will get caught in the crossfire and die. Astrid looks at Hiccup, realizes how much this means to him, and punches his arm to agree to keep silent for now. They fly back home safely, but the deadline for Hiccup's ceremonial dragon execution is ticking fast. Next morning, the arena is packed with rowdy Vikings as Stoik gives a rousing speech about his son. Stoik declares that Hiccup is officially becoming a true Viking warrior today. The crowd goes wild, chanting Hiccup's name as he steps down into the sand with his shield and dagger. Astrid meets him at the gate, warning him that the entire arena is expecting blood. Hiccup tells her not to step in if things go south, determined to show everyone the truth about dragons on his own. Astrid gives him a deep look, realizing he is risking his whole life to change their world. She promises to stand by him no matter what crazy outcome unfolds in that ring. Stoik gives his final proud roar from the high balcony, expecting the ultimate dragon slay. Gobber yells encouragement from the sidelines while Snotlout grumbles with extreme jealousy. Snotlout is low-key salty that the village weakling took all his spotlight. The heavy iron gate lifts, and out charges a terrifying, fire-spewing monstrous nightmare. Instead of raising his weapon, Hiccup does the unthinkable, he drops his helmet and throws away his shield right in front of everyone. The entire crowd gasps in utter shock as Hiccup reaches out his bare hand toward the flaming beast. Stoik's jaw drops, instantly realizing his son isn't trying to slay the beast at all. Hiccup turns to the crowd, shouting that dragons aren't evil monsters and that nobody has to die today. Enraged and embarrassed, Stoik slams his heavy war hammer onto the iron railings with a massive bang. The loud ringing sound spikes the monstrous nightmare's aggression, sending the dragon into a frantic rage. The wild beast lunges right at Hiccup, cornering him against the stone arena walls. Astrid rushes the barricades yelling for him to grab her hand before he gets roasted alive. Stoik yells at Astrid to stay clear while Vikings scramble to force open the locked arena doors. But far out in the dark forest, Toothless hears Hiccup's terrified desperate screams echoing across the island. The entire arena explodes into pure chaos as Stoic's men rush Toothless like a tactical SWAT team. Toothless gets completely tackled and pinned to the dirt, unable to unleash his plasma blasts. Stoic orders the Night Fury locked up in heavy chains, treating him like ultimate enemy number one. Stoic loses his absolute mind, feeling totally betrayed by his own flesh and blood. Hiccup begs his dad to take all the heat and punishment, just as long as they spare Toothless. The chief is utterly disgusted that his son cares more about a dragon than his own Viking tribe. Stoic brings up Hiccup's lost mom, convinced these beasts are irredeemable monsters. In the ultimate emotional gut punch, Stoic disowns Hiccup on the spot, severing all family ties. The Vikings load up their war fleet, using Toothless as a chained compass to track down the nest. They sail directly into the deadly fog of Helheim's Gate, totally unaware of the nightmare waiting for them. Back on the island, Hiccup is sitting in total despair, utterly convinced he cooked the entire village. He hits rock bottom, wishing he had just finished Toothless off in the woods on day one. Astrid presses him hard, refusing to let him slide with weak excuses and self-pity. Hiccup screams out that he was just a coward who couldn't bring himself to kill a defenseless creature. Then comes the deep realization: when he looked into the dragon's eyes, he saw his own scared soul. Astrid snaps him out of his pity party and challenges him to step up like the main character he is. Hiccup snaps into legendary mode, deciding it's time to drop a Galaxy Brain playset. He gathers the entire dragon training squad, taking full command like a real squad leader. He warns them that the adults are marching straight into an absolute death trap. Snotlout tries to flex his ego, but Hiccup puts everyone's unique chaotic talents to work. Astrid asks how they are even gonna reach the nest with every single boat completely gone. Hiccup gives them a mischievous grin, ready to unlock the wildest squad maneuver in Viking history. Meanwhile, Stoic's army lands on the Dragon Island, locked and loaded for war. They blow open the massive volcanic mound, flexing heavy main character confidence way too early. Suddenly, a colossal, hypergigantic dragon emerges from the ash, instantly setting their ships on fire. The entire Viking fleet gets incinerated in seconds, leaving the warriors completely stranded and cooked. Stoic and Gobber decide to hold the line like absolute chads to let their people retreat. Fishlegs quickly drops tactical intel on the megaboss, analyzing its strengths and blind spots. Out of nowhere, the teens swoop in riding trained dragons, executing flawless air support. Rough and Tough start trolling the giant queen, annoying it into missing its attacks. Hiccup dives down into the combat zone to locate Toothless before the whole island burns down. Stoic looks up in sheer disbelief as he sees his outcast son leading an airborne dragon cavalry. The squad pulls off insane dogfights, barely dodging massive tail sweeps and fireballs. Snotlout leaps straight onto the Mega Dragon's head, smashing its eye to draw aggro. Hiccup swoops down to free Toothless, who is currently trapped underwater aboard a burning ship. Stoic dives into the freezing ocean himself, breaks Toothless free, and validates Hiccup as his true son. Now fully reconnected, Hiccup and Toothless take to the sky to bait the giant Leviathan monster. The squad watches in horror as the giant boss dragon unfolds massive wings and actually takes flight. Hiccup lures the beast high into the atmosphere, leading it directly into thick storm clouds. Toothless uses stealth mode in the fog, striking the massive dragon from hidden angles. The beast gets wildly frustrated, blasting fire randomly into the dark foggy clouds. Hiccup sets up the ultimate bait play, angling Toothless into a steep terminal dive. They plunge straight toward the burning island at blinding speeds with the giant right on their tail. On the ground, Gobber acknowledges Hiccup's insane leadership to a speechless Stoic. Hiccup turns Toothless around at the very last microsecond, facing the giant face to face. As the monster opens its jaws to unleash hellfire, Toothless fires a plasma blast straight inside its mouth. The gas inside the monster's chest ignites, causing a devastating internal explosion. The massive queen crashes into the ground at full speed, creating a massive inferno of fire and ash. Stoic rushes through the toxic smoke, fearing the absolute worst for his bravest boy. Toothless unwraps his wings, revealing he shielded Hiccup from the fiery explosion just in time. Days later, Hiccup wakes up back home in his bedroom with Toothless casually hanging out beside him. Hiccup tries to stand up, only to realize he lost his lower left leg in the horrific crash. He limps out the door onto a custom peg leg crafted by Gobber, stepping into a completely changed world. Berk is now a thriving paradise where Vikings and dragons live together in total peace. The villagers cheer for Hiccup like the ultimate hero he was always destined to become. Astrid walks right up, punches him hard on the arm for scaring her, then kisses him. Hiccup gets the girl, the respect of his chief dad, and the ultimate main character legendary status. Stoic hands Hiccup a brand new custom tail fin upgrade for Toothless. Gobber smiles, proud of how Hiccup's quirky tinkering changed the future forever. Hiccup clips into Toothless' pedal rig, ready to take back to the sky. Hiccup narrates that Berk may be cold and tough, but it is now the coolest place on Earth. The island has gone from an endless war zone to a literal dragon-riding haven. While other towns have standard pets, Berk rocks the ultimate firepower with actual dragons. The squad takes off together into the open clouds, soaring higher than ever before. Toothless unleashes a roar of pure triumph as they fly alongside the sunlit horizon. The centuries of fear and destruction are officially over, replaced by true unity. Hiccup went from being the village outcast to the greatest Viking chief legacy in history. Toothless glides effortlessly through the wind, completely synced up with his rider. The bond between a boy and his dragon literally transformed the entire world. And that brings this legendary high-flying masterpiece to an absolutely beautiful ending. What an absolute emotional roller coaster of a climax that was, showing true character growth. Hiccup and Toothless redefined what it means to be a true hero through empathy and courage. If you enjoyed this insane step-by-step breakdown, smash that like button right now. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss our ultimate movie recaps. Drop a comment down below letting me know what legendary movie you want explained next.